Welcome to Survivor Debrief. My name is Eden Porter, the unlucky loser from Survivor Titans versus Rebels. And with me, as always, is my comedic partner and real-life brother, Joshua Porter. Josh, welcome.
Thank you. Real life. That's where we're at.
Real life, baby.
Here we are.
That's where we're in. We're in.
Week 2. Big week 2.
Mate, huge week 2. Episode 4, 5, and 6 to chat about today. Looking forward to it. Should we just get straight in, Josh? Should we just get straight into the action?
We should. Episode 4.
Yeah. Episode 4. So,
which was ages ago for people listening to this.
Yeah, I know.
So
They're like,
ago.
hang on, what is this? Who went home? So a couple of the big moments from there, obviously. Now, one of the ones, this is off the back of AJ trying to pull a quick one over on Logan.
Yeah.
And then it all falling in a heap. So AJ's feeling very sad. And a lot of this episode was AJ. There was like the sad shots of AJ in a tree, if you remember that.
With
it was
the butterflies around him.
And I know that
back
tree.
To nature.
I was in that butterfly tree. And no shit, there's a lot of butterflies around Butterfly Tree.
That's great.
Like, we've hung out there. I remember one day in our season, Sarah was like, everyone wake up, the butterflies are coming. And we all got up and watched the butterfly. It was really good.
Great.
But from that, Logan feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, if you feel this as well. I feel like Logan has sort of taken over the Witch's Coven.
I don't think she's taken over. I think we're seeing a lot of her. But I think the Coven is like... It's an interesting alliance because everyone feels that they deserve to dictate the terms of it.
Yes.
And they all think, well, I've got my grand plan that means it has to go this way. And it's kind of like they've all got their own idea of what that is. And it's quite interesting of seeing an alliance that I don't think I've quite seen one that has seemed so rock solid, but then quite divided.
Yeah. I completely agree because I think last episode I actually mentioned and I said it seems like everyone in the Coven sort of felt they had good footing and that they were all sort of like, we all know what's happening. No one's really a goat, so no one has to supersede anyone. We're all sort of on the same page. And that is, it couldn't be further from the truth now. Like, it seems like it just eroded away and just rotted from the inside because they all feel like they should be the one sort of pushing the narrative.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
And it's a very interesting sort of group breakdown.
But I think the biggest thing for me was AJ realizing how much he screwed it last week and being like, I've got to turn this around. I've got to get the target on someone else. So he gets it out there and puts it on to Rich. And in a really, really clever way, I think.
Yeah, so I always talk about this, you feed into people's insecurities, and if you know that Rich has already been sort of laying into the girls or already been saying stuff like, oh, I wonder if they're with us and things like that, if you can then plant a few facts in that it's confirmation bias. He just goes, oh, yeah, I knew it. I knew they were doing that. And all you have to do is feed that a little bit. And AJ's getting a really good edit at this point because he's set that up really well. And then we had that beautiful, rich sort of Shakespearean. He's like, this is bloody like Shakespeare or something like that. And he's Macbeth, and the witches coven are the witches. Yeah, I know exactly.
Yep, absolutely.
And then they had the flashbacks and all this sort of stuff, and him going, but when the VB Alliance, like the slow mo VB Alliance forming stuff. Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was pretty good. And yeah, I think AJ's done a really good job of just laying low and just maybe getting some sowing a little bit of chaos between.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see how sunk I think he seemed in the vote before or after that, sort of blubbing his face. I think he's done an incredible job to really turn it around and get attention off him. They definitely still got eyes on him, but he's definitely built Rich up to be this bigger threat now, which is really clever.
And then let's jump to the Brawn for a second. Now, the Brawn tribe to me, they're not as interesting at this point.
No.
There's a lot, like Nash is doing a lot of the heavy lifting of keeping that side interesting. I felt they did Nash pretty dirty. What they gave him about a full 20 seconds struggling with the hammock. like that was pretty dirty. Like, come on, guys.
He's a bumbling buffoon. That's what we're showing.
Yeah, he's a lovable dad. He's the lovable dad. He's the dad from the sitcom that they always make out to be like, "Oh, what have you done? What have you done, Nash?"
He's the dad in the TV commercial.
In the TV
useless dad can't get anything right.
Oh no, I've lost the keys. Oh, I've bought the wrong shopping. Yeah, all that. Poor Nash.
Oh, I dropped my hat in the fire, Dad. But yeah,
That was
Nash.
Kent, mate.
Yeah, I know. But
yeah.
yeah, Nash not looking to crash hot over there. And
No.
just like everything's sort of falling apart from a bit.
Yeah, massively. And also, we can't go any further without mentioning Jesse did a memorial rap.
Yes, that was quite
It,
very moving. Very
it was
moving.
it was not the best rap.
But you know what? He was probably up all night thinking, like, yeah,
Think about it.
this will be good.
And
This will
someone's
be
yelling out, "That's pre-written, mate. That's pre-written." No, it's off the top of my dome. So we talk about the challenges for this
Yeah,
bad
so
boy.
the reward challenge in episode 4 was the standing on the pegs.
Peg legs. So this
Yeah.
challenge is actually very reminiscent to ones they usually do later on in the season. So
Yeah,
I know
like the individual stuff.
I was messaging Mark and he was having genuine phantom pains in his foot because
jeez.
that was like the final 3 challenge for them.
Yeah.
And it's brutal. One thing I did notice though, which I thought was a bit unfair, the pegs were the same same distance apart for everyone. It should be. It actually should be based on like height and things like
Could
that.
they pick the pegs? Because it
No.
seemed that they
It
were
went
like...
color.
No. I mean, in terms of there was 4 of each color, right? They seem to have to cross over each other.
There was 3 of each color.
No, sorry. Of each color, there was 2.
Yes.
So it's like
yes.
for each pairing.
Yeah. I got you.
So like did they have to cross legs? Probably.
Yes,
Because
it
I
was
like,
it wasn't made for that. It was made for that.
All right. But
Yeah,
I
it was
agree.
definitely
Yeah,
made
that
for
is a bit tough. But it's interesting the pairing you doing that because you're like, you want to pair you just want to have your best pair together to be like these two have got the
and
best
they did
chance.
that. I feel like they did that because a lot of these balance challenges are particularly women tend to do quite well.
Well,
like women
is this generally just the lighter you are, the easier this challenge is going to be, right?
Yeah, but you see, no, because it's not just that. And I found that as well. I thought there would be more challenges where I'm just like, you just got to balance on stuff.
Where my weight would help me dominate.
But upper body strength, a lot of those
Yeah.
challenges have some sort of rope component that if you have upper body strength, you can take some pressure off your feet
true.
and you can do that. And I have no upper body strength.
It's all on your feet there, all on the feet.
It's all core. I'm all core, baby.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So the pegs were difficult. Everyone knocks out. Like Ben went out pretty early, and he's been quite a challenge beast.
He has. Surprised by that.
I think Nash was out in the first 5 sets. Like before JLP even had finished saying,
Describing
this
what's
challenge
going
is on.
Well, do you want to start it? No, too late.
Oh, no, there you go.
But ended up Brains winning, and they had that really interesting decision they had to make of the snags, the sausage sizzle.
No.
or the Flint.
No, it didn't.
Brains won.
Oh, Brains won this one. Yeah. Oh, this is sausage. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
they
right.
had
Yep.
to choose between the sausages and the Flint. And I wanted to know from you, Eden, in the consideration of you either get a bunch of food now and a reward, is that brilliant? Or do you want that long-term safety of the Flint? What would you have gone for?
I actually think there's going to be more opportunities to get the Flint. There's not necessarily going to be more opportunities to get sausages.
I was thinking that.
I would go for the sausages.
Yeah, because I'm like, they're definitely... You're going to have Flint at some point. They're going to throw it in to be like, if you get some Flint as well. Like, it's been too long now.
They don't want you to be totally incapacitated and not being able to eat anything. They just don't want that. So if you can have a really good feed of sausages, you're not going to need to eat for the rest of that day. And then tomorrow there's more opportunities.
I think the biggest part of this, though, as well, was the element of if you take the Flint, the other team get the sausages. And I think in the absence of that, you could maybe go for the Flint, but I'm like, I don't think you should give a reward over like all that energy and all that protein.
Because you deserve that. You won it. Like they won this challenge. They should get the food.
And the one holdout was Ali, though, quite clearly being like, I just want to think we should get the Flint. And she's been a bit of the fire marshal, the rationing marshal.
Ali is the fire starter. We all know this. And there's nothing that can change that opinion of her.
No, not at all.
At all.
I had shades of Caroline from your season of tending the fire, tending the food, and being a little bit like the annoying person who's like looking at all this stuff. What did you make of that?
There was a little bit. I did when she started saying like, "Hang on, how much food have you had?" and all this sort of thing. There was elements of Caroline there that was like, you just don't need to say that. Like,
was Caroline like that? Or was that just built up?
It was highlighted more than it was. Like,
okay.
It's just a conversation when you're there. You're like, Jaden, have you already had some? Because I think these guys haven't had their first thing yet, so let them get it first. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, sure.
Or whatever.
Stack 10 of those up.
It was more that than, hey, stop what you're doing.
Yeah, sure.
But also there was people rationing. I hate the eye roll rationing. They're like, somebody didn't ration this. Somebody wanted to eat everything. It's just like, this is the situation we're in. Don't play that.
Survivor's
card,
a
please.
social game, like.
Exactly. So we've got the anything else with that, by the way? Yeah, I reckon you should take sausages. No.
Yeah, I don't. It's
Um,
just
and then
immunity challenge.
the immunity. So soccer. So this is where Miles really comes. This is Miles's survivor moment. I
You know
felt.
what's great? I wrote down that like it's one of those rare occasions where someone goes, "I'm good at this thing,"
Yeah.
and then they're
Yeah,
really good at the thing.
And then they're good, and they don't fail. PD is a soccer coach.
I know that would be. That's almost the worst nightmare when you're expected to be good at something. But when when Miles can rock up and go, this kid doesn't know what he's doing. He's just saying he's good at soccer, and then smash it. It's like, zero expectations. Great. Can only.
PD was so bad that he nearly scored an own goal. And that's Fishback-esque. That is Fishback going, like, getting so obsessed with what if this happens? It's like, it's not going to happen. And then it nearly happens.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
One thing I did like about this challenge, I liked that the goalies were on like a little floating bit that they could leap off.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was cool.
You'd have no way to move otherwise.
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty cool. But the goalies never got anywhere near saving any of them.
I think they must have done testing to be like, these goals have to be huge or no one's
Huge,
going to get it in.
Yeah.
So I think they just sort of went with, let's make them oversize and the goalies, whatever.
Yeah. And yeah, Miles just kills it. Just bang, bang, bang. He scores like 5 in a row.
Brains smashed it.
Brain smash it. So sending Brawn back to Tribal Council. And this is where we get a few, like, I feel like Noonan and Paulie are, again, just running this tribe. Like, they seem like the only ones that are really switched on that can really actually pull stuff together.
Yep.
And Nash, let's
he
get
revealed. The
let's
big
get into
reveal
Nash.
from
Nash's
Nash.
big reveal, Nash's huge reveal was that he threw the challenge.
That
And
first challenge, yeah.
He thought that telling this to a group of people in his tribe was a good idea.
He was building trust with his alliance. Hey guys, I'm so switched on that
So,
I threw that first one to draw
obviously-
battle lines.
I just wonder, obviously, it's because it was so obvious to everyone. Ursula said it at the time. People said it like, I think Nash is throwing this. And so maybe he was just trying to undercut that. I think he was being judgy with, you know what, I'm going to tell the truth.
Definitely was, yeah.
I'm going to just tell the truth.
What
Because
do you- what
people
do
are
you-
already talking about it.
What do you make of the idea of I want to get to tribal early to establish
fail.
to
Fail.
work out?
No,
you don't like that.
No. You do not want it. They went to Tribal Council first.
First, yeah.
So that is a terrible thing to do.
But he stuck around. But one thing Ursula as well did say, she mentioned that Nash likes to rustle feathers.
You
She
said Russell
did.
Feathers.
Yes, we
Thank
got one
you,
in there.
Ursula.
Thank you to
Got
Ursula.
it in a live version of it. I thought it was so good.
So the big thing I noticed here from this scramble was Nash sort of like dotting around the camp, realizing he's a bit sunk. His alliance is sort of falling apart. He's trying to half threaten, half coerce, and half like be friends with people, and talking about how great of a social player is and all this stuff. Kind of just throwing everything at the wall. That it's like you can't fault him for like just trying it, but it's like based on his behavior up to this point, it just none of it really played.
Yeah, I think there's two things you can do in one point. One thing that I didn't think was great was him targeting Morgan and those girls. They're the girls that voted with him the first time, and they're the ones that were paranoid enough to be like, you know what, I'm just going to vote with him. So I think putting votes on them automatically drove them away from him. I think they weren't with him anyway. Now he doesn't have an idol. But
What do you think? Why do you think he chose Morgan? Why did he pick her as the target?
I don't know. I honestly don't. I think maybe because she's a bit more outspoken and maybe she's ruffled some more feathers than anyone else. But I think if you look around, there are a lot of pairs in that tribe, and if you vote someone out, then you don't get those two people's votes if you target them. And so there was a little bit of that. So maybe it was just if I vote Morgan, then the only person I'm pissing off is Kate, and maybe that's less of an impact on everyone else.
Yeah.
But it was, man, it was.
I think it felt pretty done. Like the stuff he'd done, and then the throwing the challenge thing coming out.
I think the edit was doing a lot of heavy lifting this episode to make it seem like there was possible other things. Nash found a fake idol that was just his thing. And
I love that as well.
like-
Being like, show us. No. It's like, you've had one and you wore it around your neck. 100% you don't have it.
Exactly. You've set that up pretty badly. Well, maybe this time I won't wear it around my neck. Is that because you don't have one? Yeah. I mean, no. I just thought, yeah. It was, oh my God, that shot. I just got to mention this one shot that broke my heart. When Nash was telling them that he threw the challenge, it flashed back to the challenge and it had
Yeah.
him talking in the group. And he said, no, I'm actually really good at puzzles.
Yeah.
And Candy looks at him and goes, oh, Nash, I believe in you. I've got your back. I believe in you. To give him confidence to go, because she thought she's going, and I was like, that broke my heart.
Great.
That absolutely broke my heart. But yeah, and then it was a foregone conclusion. Everyone just laid in.
And then they put the split, the extra 2 on Ursula.
On Ursula.
Yeah, which is kind of like...
Noonan is spelling like U-R-S,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. It's like, you've got to pick someone else. I always find these decisions really interesting because it's like, you've got to pick that overflow, but like you're telling that person you're the next to go. And it's a really difficult decision.
And you know what happens is once someone gets votes in another tribal council, it almost becomes they're the default vote getter.
Yeah.
So Miles has copped some votes. So now every vote at Brains is like, oh, we'll put a couple on Miles just in case something happens. And it's really hard to get out of that.
Well, it seemed like it was interesting what Ursula was saying about that, to be like, it was almost like, oh, damn it, I picked the wrong person. She was like, I teamed up with Nash at the start and now everyone hates Nash and I'm attached to that. And it's an interesting thing of like, how much do you reckon is that the individual's fault versus sometimes that's just how it happens, how it plays out. Your personalities connect you with people that maybe aren't the best for your game.
Honestly, I think you need to have a better social awareness of what's happening and then just dump the dead wood. Someone can try and grab onto you because that's what happens. Someone comes to you and says, hey man, let's do something. And you feel good. And you go, yeah, you know what? This person wants to work with me. This is really good. You've then got to read the room and go, is anyone else on board with this? Is anyone else here? Or is this person poisonous? And then I've got to go back and be like, man, I can't believe Nash is trying to be friends with me. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, that's honestly how you have to play it.
Well, she nearly got there. There was that moment where they were chatting in the water and they're like, I'm open to anything. I'm open to doing anything. And I think she ended up putting Nash's name out there. But like, it needed to be like way stronger, I reckon.
Way stronger.
Even the back of her head, she's like, I'm just the extra one here. I'm stuffed. I think you just got to commit to be like, yeah, I'm jumping. I'm not on the Nash train anymore. No way.
Yeah, I'm getting off the Nash train.
Yeah.
I'm getting off the Nash train. Oh, we could use the Soul Train music again.
We got off the Nash train.
Nash train. And then it's all over. Where Nash is, we've said goodbye to Nash, unfortunately.
Yeah, fun character.
Fun character.
Really shook up the early game there with some craziness that I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. I don't think.
Honestly, was good character, pre-merge character, pre-swap character.
Yeah,
kept it really interesting and gave the Brawn a like jolt in the arm that they needed to be interesting. So that was all right. That leads us into episode 5. Episode 5. We start off. There's a few interesting conversations in this. So there's a few things that happen. So one is the bomb squad gets formed.
Yes.
I'm just going to say it right now. I hate the name Bomb Squad.
You don't like the Bomb Squad?
I don't like it as an alliance. I don't like it. I don't like the concept of it. It's sort of lame. It doesn't actually make sense.
You know what's been lacking? It's been lacking any kind of metaphorical language around the Bomb Squad. There's been no diffusing. There's been no robots sent in.
And you can't give
there's
people
no hurt
characters.
lockers. There's nothing.
Yeah, you can't give people characters. You can't go, he's the fuse and I'm the tinder.
Well, you can. You're doing it. And I just did it. I don't mind the Bomb Squad. And to be fair, I think this is the alliance name I think I've ever heard the most of in any season of Survivor.
Oh, man.
It is being shouted to the high hills every single time.
I saw a couple of comments online being like, stop trying to make the Bomb Squad happen. It's not going to happen, because they did say it a lot.
The interesting thing about the Bomb Squad is they're talking about like this sort of foregone conclusion of, we've got the power, we've got the power. And it's
a 5-5 split.
I know, but the way they're talking, the way the Rich was setting it up to be like, and Max as well, we're in control, we've got this all together. Like, it's a really weird, it's this feeling that they can definitely pull some people away from the cover.
And I think that's a crazy read from Rich to be like, no, this is good. We want to be in this position. This is perfect. I'm like, who are your numbers?
PMA, mate. PMA. Positive mental attitude.
Well, yeah, this is true. But count your numbers and go, okay, it's 5-on-5. Who's the swing? Who are we getting across? The thing that I thought Rich and Max were doing, they were going to get in with the girls, and we were going to vote out Miles, and we were going to vote out AJ, and we were going to vote out Kaylin, and they were going to be the last two boys, and then there would be a swap, and then they would be less threatening because the Coven would be the big target. I thought that was their plan. But no, their plan is to literally take out the Coven with this extra vote person that they don't
what do
have.
you think is what do you think is the best path to go there? Do you try and be like, well, I'm going to outlast a few of the other people, but I'm going to jump shipped over to the Coven, or do you need to try and pull someone from the? What is your preferred method?
So, like honestly, it's what ends up happening in the next episode. It's creating something new. It's feeding the cracks. It's pouring water in the cracks to get a bigger divide, get that erosion happening, and then try and being like, this is actually better for you. Because sometimes people form alliances very quickly before they've really got to know the person, and you get stuck in an alliance with someone that you're not aligned with.
And as we see, the Coven is made of very, very porous rock. So.
Oh. So get that in the shower, that rock. Get that dead skin off. It's so porous.
The other thing I've had, again,
what else
this sort of divides of the Coven starting to come out. And I do find it interesting, this sort of idea of everyone across you kind of got the two main things. It's Laura and Logan and Zara and Karen kind of thing.
Correct.
And they're both kind of saying, I think it's ridiculous that we can't do what I want to do. They're so inflexible and all this kind of stuff. And it's really funny because I'm like, you'll both have legitimate claim to say that, but you're both doing the exact same thing, and they don't seem to see that.
It is the classic unstoppable force versus the immovable object. Yeah. It's the two forces coming at each other, being like, these people, they're just not listening. They're not listening, and I'm like, you're both not listening.
Yeah.
And I was actually disappointed in Laura in this episode because she's massively sticking her neck out for Rich. She's using a lot of social capital, and it's fine to do that. But some of the conversations she was having when she outright said to the group, I'm not happy about this. I hate this decision. I'm really pissed off now that you want us to do this. This is ridiculous. Like, you say that in confessional and you go, I need to figure out a way out of this. You don't say that to the group. And at one point she actually said, I'm just really upset that I'm burning this other alliance I had.
Yeah,
I
know. I call that.
You don't tell people, you don't openly say, oh, I've got this whole other thing going on and now you guys are ruining that for me.
And making it very clear. I found that interesting what Laura, like, she was kind of wanting to make the point that I don't like this, but I'm going along with it for you guys. Like, that's okay, a little bit of that, to be like, I totally appreciate, guys, great idea, let's do it. But there was this element of trying to prove the point of, I'm not happy about this, I really don't like it. And we saw it more from Laura than Logan, but then as a pair, they both seemed pretty on board with, I'm glad we needed to make a point of that we're going along with you.
So do you think they were actually trying to gain some sort of like I don't know, emotional...
It could be trying to make them feel bad, to be like if they don't really want, if they were sort of weaker women
quid pro quo, maybe, like, well, you made us do this.
Maybe.
Made it very,
or the idea of if they were sort of, you know, for lack of a better, weaker women, like the women in the other, they're really strong-willed, so they're pushing back on it. But if it's a more sort of agreeable woman, other people, not even women, just people in their alliance, if they think that they could take that and be like, oh yeah, maybe she's really upset, but let's swap it. But yeah, it seemed to be a bit too much. And the big thing that stuck out for me with that is, it's not this, what it should be, and I'm sure you'll agree, this sort of subtle steering it to the other thing that you want and planting a few seeds and just nudging it. Yeah. It's saying, no, we shouldn't do that. That's not logical. This is logical. It's like, make them take the steps. Make them take the steps that it becomes logical.
So one key thing was missing was, why is it good to save Rich for them? It was very much, Rich is good to save for me because it does this for me and I don't want this to happen. You need people to realize, oh, hang on a minute. Rich could be a really good, if we had a swap, Rich is really out there and spoken, and he could be a target before us, and we can throw him under the bus and we can use him. And we know what he's saying because he's whispering stuff to us. So we've got a really good read on him, so we can manipulate him and do everything. He's actually a really good puppet. We're not sure about these other guys. No one can control them.
It's that, and then in conjunction, the other angle is like, and how dodgy is AJ? Like, he's so dodgy. Yeah. So I agree, though, that the value you bring, if you want to keep Rich, as you stated, let them know the value of that to the whole alliance. Like, I'm bringing this guy for all of us.
Exactly. That's what was missing. And let's just touch on the AJ of it all, AJ and Ali, because these were some wild conversations that were going on. At one point, Ali says, I just see AJ and I feel really bad for him. And the nurturing side of me wants to come out. And then she proceeds to go over to him and just absolutely railroad him with well, you know why you're on the bottom. You tell me why you're on the bottom. What did you do? Like, it was pretty bad.
You can't play like this. You got to play like this. You got to do this. And AJ's playing it very cool.
Very cool.
Be like, yep, sure. Yep.
He's like, I know exactly what I'm doing. And I'm just going to let her. And credit to AJ, he didn't bite back. He didn't go, no, you're wrong. I know what I'm doing. Right. He just said, okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah. And that seemed to infuriate her more.
I'll take your unsolicited advice. Yeah, there was that other discussion they had, and she was like, it's not cool. Don't say it's cool. It's not cool at all.
And that's something that I would say. I would be like, cool. Yep, that's cool. And then I would just say that, and then it would piss Ali off.
Yeah, 100%.
But I thought AJ played that well, and Ali just needed to not salt the earth so nothing would grow again. Yeah. And actually build relationships.
Well, and then the funny thing off the back of all this as well, AJ finds an idol. So it's like he knows what he's doing. He's fine. You know, he's made some really good sort of background moves that Ali can be completely unaware of. And it's interesting seeing someone sort of so vehemently stating, I know how to play this and you're playing it wrong.
And can I just say, there was a lot of people that came out with like, oh, I can't believe people find idols when they need to find idols and stuff like that. There are two things there. First thing is everyone is looking for idols all the time. When you don't find an idol, they don't show it on television because it's boring, because nothing happens. The times they show us looking for idols is when someone finds it. And so there's a disconnect in your head. You go, oh, every time they look for an idol, they find one. And it's like, no, because there's hours and hours of footage that they don't show of you not finding it. And secondly, when you do need something, you're more incentivized to actually look a little bit harder and go a little bit further than not. So it made total sense to me that he was the person that found it. Yeah.
Should we talk about challenges?
Challenges. Oh, mate, you read my mind, Josh. We had the mud challenge. This is a classic Survivor challenge. They haven't done so much.
I like the mud. It seemed very sloppy mud. And in the last one I saw, which must have been like a very, very long time ago, American one,
like
I remember it was more about getting heaps of it on your body and just scraping it off your body.
Yeah, it was a thicker mud. It was a more viscous mud.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
It's heavy viscosity on this.
Zen. Is that is that it?
Yeah, so it seemed really runny, but then they discovered, it's actually deeper down the bottom. So let's
so I think people put their hands in, and it was so hard down the bottom that they thought that wasn't the mud.
Yeah, but then they realized it was.
And then Rich and stuff started really digging up. But the T-shirt, man, the T-shirt 101, you use your clothing.
I don't like I really didn't. I get it, plate, but I was like, it should be, because that blew out the challenge entirely and kind of ruined it.
It did.
It's
I
remember people like stacking on their heads and stuff, and
I was going for the head stack. You can get a lot in your hair, and you can actually if you want it, you could do like a crab walk and put it all on your tummy.
That would have been great.
Remember crab soccer?
Load
me
up.
Play crab soccer?
Load up my tum.
So I think tum. I like the mud. I thought it was good. And then the mud pies. You got to get the right consistency with the mud pies.
Again, Ben dominating that. It was interesting.
Ben dominates challenges and then he gets no screen time or confessionals or anything. That's just what he's there for.
I think that's going to be his thing.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in that as well.
Ali... Brawn end up winning?
Yeah, they went up winning, and they get to choose someone to take with them
to Day Spa.
And they choose... They base it on who was willing to give us sausages.
What do you make of that as a reasoning?
Look, Noonan came up with it. I think it's pretty like they've tried to use logic, because I thought it was pretty funny they didn't choose Logan.
Why would you not just pick Logan? When you see someone like that, why wouldn't you?
I think it's because they wanted to make a point. Maybe they heard her saying, like, don't give them the sausages. Or maybe they were just like, this woman really wants it, so let's not give it to her.
And what would you do? Because I think if I saw someone like that, I'd be like, yeah, just get over here. Because then you've built a little bit of relation, unless you have other specific information that is like, this person seems like a good fit or someone we could work with. I think you just take the emotional choice and be like...
Honestly, all I'm thinking about in that situation, I'm going, who looks like they're out of the loop? Who looks like they're not getting on? And you know what? I probably would have taken Miles. I probably would have gone, Miles, come over here, because I would have felt that they were out of the loop. Anyone on the bottom or out of the loop, I would try and take to get information out that they're way more willing to do that.
Yeah, right.
One thing I hated in this, I'll tell you right now, this for nothing, Joshua. JLP says to Ali, "Are you sure you want to go? Because you could swap it out with someone else."
Yes.
No, JLP. That is incorrect. Because the whole point of this is that the Brawns choose someone, not that they choose someone and then that brain person then gets to choose who they actually want to go.
Yeah. It was
That's
interesting.
no,
I was also
no.
surprised that you didn't just give it to Logan at that point. Like, if someone in your
You
trial,
can't
I don't
do
know.
that. You can't do it. That's
You don't
against
like
the
it?
rules. No. I would have. That totally defeats the purpose of being able to
Do you
choose
think he
someone.
only said that because Logan had such an emotional reaction to the
Yeah,
day spa?
I think he said that because
But Logan
Logan
had
was
such an emotional response to the shampoo.
to the shampoo. And then I reckon he got a little thing in his ear from production going, "What the hell are you doing? No, JLP, this is not, no, we're not doing this." And then they just said, "Okay,
And then Ali's turned it down. I
Ali,
was like, great.
Ali, turn it down, yeah, good." Because that's not how the game is played. I love JLP. JLP, we love you. I know you're a big fan.
Don't
You're
clip this.
listening right now.
Everyone, don't clip this and
Don't
send
clip
it to
this.
JLP.
We love JLP. I just thought that was I'd get from a game perspective, and
Yeah,
I'm a student of the game.
Yeah.
I just didn't
It's an element of strategy that, like, no, the strategy was Brawn's picking. Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's just talk about the other challenge straight up.
The immunity.
Right now, this was the immunity. This was the. So what did you have to do? You have to do a
This-
puzzle.
A puzzle. You had to do the cube.
A puzzle.
You had to do
by
the
the way,
cube.
this cube looked pretty easy. It was three stacked on top of each other, then two on the side.
Look at you, mate. Look at you.
Mate.
You're
No,
au fait
no.
with these. You give me a pyramid. You want a pyramid?
No. I wanted Tetris blocks. Usually this puzzle comes with Tetris ones.
Or like three, not
Yeah.
just flat ones. Yeah,
and it was and so I thought that would have made it hard, but maybe they're just going, guys, just get through it.
Yeah.
Even though the Brawns, I was so surprised they didn't push over their block as well when they did it. The brains.
What do you mean?
Like push it over so the Brawns can't copy it. This is copy central. Every single
right.
person push
Right.
always. Josh, make a note. Always push over your puzzle when you do
Always
it.
cool. Always push over your puzzle, and also always hang out your jumper. Got it. Don't worry.
Or yeah, they're the two learnings. Every episode we get a learning,
We do,
which is
learning.
good. Write them down.
And then you had the got to get the coconuts, but the big part of it was the seesaw with the fire in it.
Yeah,
And-
no. The big part of it was JLP saying, "Unload your nutsack."
Yes,
That was the big part of it. That was the big part of
That
it.
was a real big part of it.
But then the fire. So obviously, Brains had a huge lead. Ali and Laura were on the fire, and they could not get it started. And we've had this whole build up to Ali being this
Yes.
fire starter,
I know.
and then it's all downhill.
What is that? Just a pressure moment, or is it like, oh no, you haven't had Flint, and now you've got Flint, and you haven't actually practiced with Flint?
Yeah,
Like-
look, I guarantee you she's practiced with Flint. She's made Flint. She's
Yeah.
done Flint fires before. But just we're not getting the sparks and getting anything.
You know what? It was awkward
Yeah.
in the bucket, I reckon. Like,
No. But the bucket is for
stops the wind.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. I'm just
I
saying
know,
it seemed like
but-
really difficult to get good strikes on it.
Yeah, possibly. But I tell you what, Laura has not touched the fire at all this whole season. She's nothing to do with it. So Ali was like, "I'll take Laura because we get on really well, and don't worry, you don't need to do anything. I will just do
Was
the
that
fire."
her reasoning?
Yeah.
Right.
So what comes of that is, and this is something that you actually asked last episode. You said, is there any beneficial point to say, look, let's put people that get along together in a challenge and let's avoid people that hate each other? And I said, no, it should always be skill based.
Yep.
If you've got a skill, because I imagine if they had someone like, I don't know, I think. I'm not sure who else is good at fire, but I think Rich has done a bit of fire. And I think some of the other guys have done a bit of fire. If they had one of them with Ali, it gives you another opportunity for someone to go like, hey,
Yeah.
I'll have a go. Laura having a couple of goes when she has nothing to do with fire, she's got no interest in it, it doesn't give you a backup plan.
No, and the other part of the challenge, you can just be an extra set of hands and it's fine.
Exactly,
But that part
exactly.
of it, it's like, you got to get this. I don't think I've really seen like a decent lead like that then to literally just not get the fire. Like,
Yeah.
just completely not
Just
get
couldn't
it.
get it. Just couldn't get it at all. And Brawn come back to win it. And
Yeah.
it was a huge comeback because they had a massive lead.
Yeah.
An absolutely massive lead.
Yeah.
And it just all evaporated. And so
Brawn
now we're in the
wins.
scramble. So Brawn wins and it sends Brains back, which is fun for us because it's a much more interesting
Yeah,
dynamic. It's
yeah,
cra-
everything's
it's
been happening
craziness.
over Braids.
Yeah.
Very much more interesting. So the bomb squad trying
Yes.
to make things happen. What was the bomb squad's plan? Where were they looking?
The bomb squad was, I think they were hating on Ali.
think
because
so, yeah.
she was causing a lot of back and forth, and people were a bit annoyed with her. The Bomb Squad thought maybe that Rich was probably thinking he could get the Laura and Logan of it all to come in on the
VBs,
anti-Ali
yeah,
vote.
I think so.
I think that's maybe what he was thinking. They were saying the word Bomb Squad a lot. So
I don't even feel that like the Bob Squad is rock solid. Like they're definitely
No.
saying it is, and they're all going along with it. But I get no compared to the Coven, which at the start I was like, this seems rock solid. The Bomb Squad, yeah, it just does not.
Miles
seem that
is
way.
not in the Bomb Squad. Miles is just on the bottom, and he'll just do whatever people say. Like at this point, he's got nothing else happening, so he's like, "Yeah, cool, okay, I'm in the Bomb
He's the
Squad."
K9 unit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Ali then proceeds to bury her own game. It is honestly, it boggles the mind how many people have basically blown up their game this season because Ali, and we didn't really talk about it
Yeah.
in the challenge of it all. Ali just gave away the game. Oh yeah. These girls, unbreakable. We're the biggest alliance in the game. You can't mess with us. It's one thing to say that, and then it's another thing to go back to your tribe and say, "Oh, guys, don't worry. I told them how tight we are and how good an alliance we are, so they know we're really
So
trustworthy."
yeah, her
Mate.
framing of it, which she thought she was doing, was I'm letting these people know those guys are untrustworthy. The
We're
women here,
trustworthy.
you can trust us. You can work with us. We're a rock solid. You've got votes. If you come with us and join with us, you've got like 5 votes. That's what she thought she was saying, but I don't think it really came across that way in any way, and I don't think it was the right move either.
No. So what I really liked, I loved when Ali first started talking and she was throwing Rich and AJ under the bus. And she sort of said, these guys are sneaky. These guys can't be trusted. That was great. Plant some seeds. Get people thinking that. And then she proceeded to continue talking and just basically say, we're the biggest power group in this. Basically, it's a war cry to say, you guys have to take us out because we're the strongest, biggest group in the game.
But if you say that these guys are untrustworthy and on the bottom, are you not also at the same time telling them, if you're going to get some swing votes, it's going to be those guys?
Yeah, I don't think you say they're on the bottom. I just think you say Rich has tried to pull this big group of guys together and he's pulling some strings and he's not very trustworthy.
So you speak more to the individual's gameplay rather than where the alliances lie.
Correct.
That's the information you want to feed across
Correct.
the other side. I love how Paulie was so shocked as well about, oh my God, she's
Shocked.
telling us everything. What's going on?
Yeah, and he's like, I thought I'd have to liquor her up. And he's like, no, it's all happening.
I think
It's pretty funny.
the really big thing we saw here is the solidification, though, of Karen and Zara versus Laura and Logan. And it
Yes.
seemed like they're the sort of two pairs that really butting heads now, really both seeing to each other and be like, I don't think we're this strong 5 that we thought we were anymore, because there's been that inflexibility on both sides.
Yeah. And it's really funny when there's a realization. I think this is the episode where Logan is like, an alliance needs to align with each other. And they're not aligned with each other. And yeah, that's right. And now both of them are all starting to look at different options. It's so quick that this is totally disintegrated.
Yeah.
This entire group is like, I don't want to work with these people anymore. They're not. And I think it's because of the strong personalities. And I think people are looking for people that they can mold a bit more and be like, okay, they're just going to fall in line. I'm going to try and target Miles because I feel like Miles has got no other options, and let's bring him in and that. But Zara wants to work with really logical people, not emotional people. And she sees Miles as quite logical.
I think the other interesting thing is normally in a 5, quite often you'll have a 3 and maybe a 2 or a 3 and a 1 and a 1. So you normally have this core 3, and we don't really have that. You've got 2 pairs, which I think is quite rare for a 5-person alliance.
I think, 100%. And
so like
Ali is the swing. Ali's the swing.
Yeah, she doesn't seem... She's like, I'm part of the 5, but I'm not part of a 3. And I think as well, the other thing that split them apart is they've both found good men on the other side to work with. So both sides have got options that they're going to and they're wanting to explore.
There's a few good men.
A few good men.
Yeah, and they can't handle the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So then, should we get to Tribal? To Tribal?
Yes.
So we get to Tribal, and we're chatting away, and things are happening, and no one's really happy. And then JLP pulls a little something sneaky out of his armpits. Up his sleeve is a non-elimination. Now, anyone that's known last season, a lot of episode 5s are non-elimination episodes. This was the episode where Hurricane Kelly came into our camp going, the rebels are here, the rebels are here.
Do you think Rich did that when he came home?
I don't think Rich did that at all. And then proceeded to jump on top of everyone. And
Tell us what
so
you really think,
so,
eh?
yeah. So they put this out there. AJ instantly says, "I'll go. Yep,
Yes.
I'll go," because he's feeling out of the loop. He knows he's got an idol in his back pocket. He knows that could be another idol. He could have two idols. That could save him for two tribals. So he's feeling really good. And then everyone says, "Nah." So when you do this, when you send someone away, if the girls are worried, if they send a girl away, then the next tribal council, it would be a 5-4.
They've lost a number. Yeah.
They've lost one. So you got to send a boy, and then which boy? And it almost everything falls into place to be like, cool, we're going to save Rich. We're going to send him over. We're still going to have the power. Rich hasn't gone home. Everybody's happy. It was a really weird situation.
Yeah, you could see how excited Laura was to be like, oh, I saved him long enough that a
Yeah.
twist in the game. And you could see Karen and Zara being really annoyed to be
Right.
like, we waited too long and now
Yeah.
he's escaped our clutches, which is really interesting. One really, a few funny lines I really like. One of them was when they were talking about the coven and Logan was like, again, I've noticed this whole season, really open vocal tribal councils, people openly talking. Logan saying, yeah, well, the coven, unfortunately, it's a democracy. Like all this kind of stuff of like, unfortunately, everyone has a vote and gets to do what they want instead of me running the show.
Everyone's got to say, unfortunately. I know.
Yeah.
It's just like, no. Sometimes people just say, yeah. They just say
And then the
wrong
other
things,
thing I really, really liked, it didn't quite play right, but the way AJ tried to like vocalize, hey, Bomb Squad, we're sticking together with his little story about his team at work. I really liked that. I thought that was cool.
I thought it was interesting.
And silent signal to the Bomb Squad that the girls didn't know.
It was a silent signal. I guarantee you every single girl there knew what the Bomb Squad was because they could hear it on the wind every 5 minutes. Bomb Squad. What is who keeps saying Bomb Squad?
It's one of those birds, one of those Fijian birds.
It's one of those Fijian Bomb Squad birds. Bomb Squad. And so ultimately Rich is voted.
Do you think this is the right move
for
the women? For the women generally,
Yeah, they're going to send someone. I think it was the best move for them all. I think Logan and Laura get to keep him in the game, and he could.
Do you think AJ's too sneaky?
Oh, yeah, for them, yeah. I think you don't. I think you want to control AJ and being able to get rid of him in the next vote.
And why wasn't Miles or Max on the cards? Do you think, or Kaylin?
I think because they want. I think they can possibly swing. I think Miles is seen as someone that you can pull in if you need to.
You might lose him over there.
So you might lose him over there, I think. And so Rich goes, and on his way out, he gets a little something, a little parchment. And again, I think they did Rich pretty dirty with this edit of him being struggling to read the instructions.
I know.
Over
Just
firelight. I'm like,
as a director,
get a clean
take, please.
Guys, can we just do that again? No, Rich, we need you going. Like that
this is live television, Rich. I know it's not. Do another take.
I thought they did him a bit.
Yeah, that was dog.
But it's basically safety without power for two people, and it's for the next tribal council only. And if he can give it to the other tribe,
I really like this. I haven't seen this one before because it gives that safety of that first vote. If you do lose it, you're not an instant boot out. It gives you the option that you can save yourself in a more interesting way and also change the dynamics of the numbers in a very significant way by removing people. I really like this twist.
Now, safety without power has been around in various forms in the past. Most famously, it was given to George on the first tribal council of the original Brains vs. Brawn, where he was able to save 5 people from his tribe, which is insane.
I don't like
So he took out, and the people he took out all the old, weak people, and himself. This is what he said, thinking that, like, I'm saving all these people, so then the strong people have to get rid of one of their own. And he took them all out, and all it did was annoy. He goes, "What? So you think we're all rubbish people, do you?" And it actually turned the people back at camp against him. So he did save himself because he was probably going home. But there's been other versions of this where individually you get to get up and leave from tribal council. Now, what I've been waiting for, which hasn't really ever happened with safety without power, everyone uses it defensively to save themselves, right? To leave the game and to go, cool, you can't vote for me, I'm out, or I'll take some people out of the game. The option of this is to use it offensively by removing people's alliance members so they don't have a large voting block, and use it to attack them and not to save yourself. And this, I tell you right now, every single stipulation of this is made for exactly that to happen. It could not be more forced hand to be like, okay, so the boys will be down one person, so they need 2 people to not beat tribal, which is why it's 2 people. So it gives it the swing. It's also, even if you win, you can send it to the other tribe
Yep.
So it doesn't have to rely on you throwing a challenge or anything like that. And it doesn't have to be you that goes home, any two people. So
Yep.
all of these things are set up perfectly to be like, okay, give it back to the brains and they can use it offensively to take out one of the members of the coven. And
Yep.
that's got to be where your head's at. Maybe not so if your name's Max, but still.
Which we'll get to.
Which we'll get to. So actually, that's Rich's. That leads us pretty nicely into episode 6 now, doesn't it?
So the big thing for me is Rich has seemed to it feels like completely jump ship. And I'm a Brawn, I'm going all in here. I imagine he's still going to have those links to Laura and the VBs, but it does seem like he's trying to place himself in a position of I'm all in, guys. I'm totally with you guys. Take me in, all that kind of stuff, all the challenges. He seemed to really sink himself into the other tribe.
Josh, are you saying that the bomb squad has fizzled out?
Hey, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Someone's put some water on their fuse, and various other bomb squad analogies that were not used on the island. Why they had the team name. So Rich came in the middle of the night, much like Kelly, and probably didn't annoy people and wake them up. He probably just slid in there.
Yeah.
Rich knows he's got a lot of power in this game, and he's very excited about it. But he does seem to fit in a bit better over at the Brawn tribe. They seem to
personality-wise, it doesn't seem to be clashing as much.
I think. Yeah.
And another shout out. We also had Max give us
You said Russell Feathers.
Got another Russell Feathers.
So much.
Twice.
Another Russell Feather twice in these
Thank
episodes.
you, Max.
They must be fans of the podcast. They must be fans of the pod. They must be.
Very lucky.
It's the only reason why they keep mentioning it.
Yeah.
This whole time, the coven is basically exploding. The coven is, they're talking about things. I think Zara is the one that says, Laura functions on fear and worry, and Logan goes from 0 to 100 emotionally and is just all out. And they want to make their own alliance. And I think I think it's good. And they get Miles in. Miles and AJ seem to have connected. We didn't really see that form. It was just sort of happened.
No, it seems like of convenience, I think, being we're kind of on the out of here, but we can band together and become a solid number and work with, because I think Karen and Zara, they both strike me as really savvy players. And it's interesting. And I do agree with that assessment of Logan. When she hears her name out there, it really ratchets up real quick, and you sort of see her in tribal, sweating a bit and worried about stuff. It really comes through on her face. Yeah.
Karen, I really like that people. This is so interesting. Basically, you very rarely get an entire. What could have been quite boring. You very rarely get an entire group just go, you know what? We're all fracturing. We're all breaking off. We're all forming new alliances, and it's actually really fun and wild.
You know what we're getting a bit of? We're getting some voting blocks, I reckon.
We are. Very malleable. Thank you. Shout out to Fishbach.
Yep.
Fishbach. So Miles now, and so they get Kaylin. Kaylin is in this.
Is he this
tribe?
Episode?
Wild.
Yeah, he's just cruising.
He's just cruising. He's just he seems like someone that just wants to do some spearfishing, and he just wants to hang out. He's not really
give him a name kind of deal. It feels a bit like
So then this group, and all great alliances, you need a name. That's how you lock people together. And so we've got the graduates. Yeah, and there's a lot of chat about graduating, almost as much as bomb squatting. Not quite.
I feel like Karen at the end there, she was kind of maybe use a bomb squad. We don't fucking drop the graduates a bit more.
Yeah, let's get the graduates going. I like the little graduate tag. They've all got degrees. They're all the graduates. It's quite good. It's quite a new group, and I think it's really strong. And then Logan is just instantly unloading on Zara pretty quickly. It's pretty full on.
They've really fractured. And the other interesting thing I found was Ali overhearing. It was Miles and Kaylin talking about going after Max. And then Ali took that straight to Max, and then that turned Max onto the little jungle rat, which I love. It's very funny. So then Miles is under the bus again. So I find it really interesting that these conversations are being overheard and completely blowing stuff up.
So two things. One is Ali is getting known for hearing information and just running off and telling the person instantly. And two, Jungle Rat online, I'm not sure whether you've seen any of the pushback. A lot of people are like, I don't think that's appropriate. I think it's got racial undertones and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's pushed back on Max. And then Miles and Max both came out and said, Miles said, on the island, Max said, hey, do you want a fun, cool nickname? I'm going to start calling you the Jungle Rat. And Miles was like, I love getting a Survivor nickname. I'm a big fan. That's really funny.
That's what it felt to me.
And they were actually quite fine with it. But then it seems like it's got momentum like
man.
outside the game. So that's been an interesting.
I think it's just a
interesting
silly little, he's a bit
little thing that's
sneaky,
happened.
he's coming after me. I think it's that kind of thing,
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing, but people take things to heart when they're
Yeah.
not in the game, and
Yeah.
it's you don't have that same relationship. You don't see that same relationship
No, you
like
get
you do on the island.
an hour of, once a week.
Yeah, exactly. So the other thing that was happening when we talk about alliances, it pains me to think like you have to be malleable. You have to go, you know what? Give a little, take a little. Like it's not hard. You don't always have to agree on every single thing. You can go, you know what? I can see you. Let's do this. Yep. Now let's do that. And it's just people just can't do it.
It's that long-term thinking, right? It's like, how much do I need to give to get what I want? What am I losing in that process? What am I gaining? And it just seemed like, I think they all decided, I think both sides decided, I've got better options to work with on the other side. I think that's kind of what it boiled down to. I've got other people I can go to that replace you, and that's fine.
Yeah. But you know what? When you talk to someone and you're offering an olive branch and they say, yeah, I'll do whatever you want, that's just to get their foot in the door. And they're going to agree with you because that's what you should do in this game. You always say yes. That's another rule. But then when they say yes and you're in the alliance, then it becomes, okay, now I'm going to do my own stuff, which is exactly what Max does.
Yeah,
in this
right.
episode, that he gets the power, and we'll get to that in the scramble. But that sort of blows up. But let's have a quick chat about the challenges, shall we?
Yes,
So
we had the padded bag slam.
the sumo
Yeah, the
time. Sumo, look, it's a classic one. It's full on brutal. I would, it would scare me doing this challenge. I think.
Yeah,
it's
I'd suck
pretty
at
full
this.
on.
The whole going to ground thing, I'm like, I don't know. I think you just got to get up and just get on with it. Obviously, we had the big moment was the Karen and Ursula battle. Where there was the great little in the ear, don't trust Rich, she's a snake.
I love that.
That was super cool.
Love that. I thought that was really fun. And just good game awareness. It shows you a player that is using every opportunity to have little conversations in the midst of that. Because a lot of people would just go like, oh, no, I'm just going to fight. I'm just going to fight.
Well, because her and Zara, it's like, we've been trying to get this guy out. We don't want him here. Can you do it for us, essentially?
Get him
the
out.
funny thing I found about their 20-minute fight was the music.
Oh, dude, how cool was
It
the
was
music?
like gladiator style music. And I was like, all right.
It was like Enya Gladiator, like,
The funny thing I wanted to be like is like, hey guys, stand up, reset. Stand up, reset. Like, just
I would've
reset
reset.
it.
I
I
would've
don't think.
reset it as
Yeah,
well.
I don't think you need to like call it a draw. It's like separate, stand up, go again.
Well, they weren't doing a lot.
Well,
they weren't doing a
the
lot.
weird thing about it was they'd locked in on behind their
Behind
head,
each other,
so
you
they
had no
couldn't
momentum.
push each
Yeah.
other. It was so strange, and then they're just
was-
exhausted. Like, all right, cool.
But it gives both people credit. It's like, cool, big fight. You're both winners in our
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
and
it
that
was
was sort
brutal.
of nice. That
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh, now we're going to make you do it again, and one of you is a loser. So
Yeah.
that was good. But ultimately, another full-on brawn challenge. Like a
Yeah.
lot of these ones are very brawn.
Which is very funny in a season called Brains versus
Brains
Brawn.
versus
It's
Brawn.
like the Raw challenge is just Brawn. It's
Yeah.
just that.
What you should do is, you know what? Okay, I'm putting my challenge hat on now. What you do is, you have the brawn aspect of it, right?
Mhm.
And you fight, and you have people that are fighting, and you win points based on that. But then there's another challenge going on with a puzzle that maybe when you lose a brawn thing, you lose a minute on the puzzle, or you lose
You get
a
an
piece
advantage.
of the puzzle.
When you win,
you get an
an
advantage somehow.
Yeah, like a
So
head
both-
start or something.
Both things, like,
I
Yeah.
agree with that. I think you need something that says you both get challenged here. But the thing that I always run into, it's like with the puzzle stuff, you get to a point where someone just can't do it. But with the brawn
Yeah.
stuff, you can always just do it.
Just do
It's
it.
not like
Yeah,
this
that's
is
true.
too heavy, you can't move it. You will always be able to do it a little bit at a time.
There were a few things out there that if we hadn't had like Jaden and Nathan, I was like, I don't think we could have moved this thing. Like honestly, I don't think we could have moved it if we had lost. There was this big cart that we had to put all the sandbags on and push the cart.
And it was
I
on the
pushing
rolling
it-
logs, was it that one?
Yeah.
Or-
And
Yeah,
you
that
had
was
to put a
tough.
log in the front. It was so heavy, and I was like, wow, we are really. This is real. Even pulling the mud thing would have been
You did
really
it.
heavy.
You did it,
Yeah,
mate.
but we did it. We did do it. Everyone's
Brawn won
crying.
that.
The music, I said the music as well. I call it angels crying music.
With this for the letters from home? Or?
No. This is for the
the
challenge that just happened. And at one point, I had to say this. Logan yells out, "Yeah, that's great. Hold her energy. hold her energy. And I was like, that's holding space. That's very holding space.
right there.
Right there. What else?
Brawn won
Yeah.
that. They won reward.
That was the comfort kit, wasn't? That was the IKEA comfort
That was
kit.
the IKEA comfort kit.
I
and
thought I'm
the letters
still
from home.
waiting. I'm going to keep posting about it. Where's the flat pack challenge? They've got to create a flat pack the fastest. Just do it, IKEA. Come on.
That's the
be
brains
weak.
challenge. That's the brain element.
That's the real.
And then you've
that's
got to
that's
toss.
social. That's social. That's brain, and
Yeah,
that's brawn.
and then you have to brawnly carry the Kallax bookshelf up.
The Kallax bookshelf. Yeah, exactly. Letters from home. 12 days in. Not a fan.
Yeah, it was weird. It's way too soon, I reckon.
12 days in. Way too soon. Emotional. I did like Paulie's. Really opened up about bullying and stuff like that, and I thought that was a really nice moment on the show.
Yeah.
Obviously a bonding moment, but it did seem quite early from
Very early for letters from home. Not to diminish the reactions, but it's like, come on, guys, it's been a week and a bit.
Yeah, and at the same time, I've gone a week and a bit without seeing my parents.
Yeah,
Like every couple of weeks. So yeah, interesting. Now.
Immunity challenge?
Immunity challenge. What was our immunity?
It was the reverse water slide, which was really cool. So I had to run up, grab the
Yes.
things, and then they had the big thing with the tiles. I
so
really
this-
liked the physical challenge of this. I thought it was very cool and some really cool techniques to it.
Kalen did the little monkey grab. He seemed to fly up.
It was
didn't
great.
he?
No,
Yeah.
it was Jesse. Jesse gunned it
sorry.
up first.
Jess,
He absolutely nailed it.
Yep.
And then we got to the tiles with the letters, putting them up. One thing I'm sick of is like people looking at the other tribe's letters and working out what the words are. It's just like, it's frustrating because it's like, just let everyone just figure it out on their own. I don't know if there's any desire to fix that.
Yeah, I think you angle it. You just angle it slightly, and you
Yeah.
need two different camera angles. And then if you say it out loud, that's your own fault.
Yeah,
If you've gone, it's immune, then that's your own fault. But just to have someone walk over there and be like, oh, cool, that's what
the
it
word.
is.
This was so close, this one. And
Oh,
it
dude, it was so
literally
close.
came down to Miles knocking the R off and then having to put it back up again, which is crazy to get that close.
It was so close. And by the way, I hate spelling word puzzle challenges. I'm terrible at them. We got annihilated, and it was brutal.
Well, it wasn't
It's-
your job. You were there to move the letters in the one you were doing.
Yeah, I was moving, but it's also you meant to be there sort of figuring it out. But
And the grand's hard.
the thing that blew me out of the water was I never thought that the word puzzles would be two different puzzles.
Yes,
So,
of course, yeah.
and someone asked because you're allowed to ask questions before the challenge separately, and your tribe goes up. Any questions you can ask some, and someone from the Rebels tribe, smarter than me, said, "Is it the same words?" Because being a fan, it's always the same. It's always so. I would never even think of saying that.
Yeah.
And they said, "No, it's not the exact same puzzle." And so
To
in their
everyone?
head, no, just to the Rebels who asked the question.
Okay.
We didn't ask that question, so we didn't know that. And instantly, the only way that is fair is if you go, well, the word different must be Rebels and Titans.
Yes.
Because that's the same number of letters, and that's the only way that would be fair. So it'd be something, rebel, something. So they already knew the word rebel, and they already took that out, and so they killed us in that challenge.
Yeah.
But this one, this is really hard. Noonan seemed to do well at this. Logan did quite good at this as well.
Yeah. So
It was a
very
tough
close,
one.
but Brawn's win just clinched it at the end there.
Sending brains back.
And in that moment when they lost, we saw Rich with a lot of bench chatter to his
What was
Brains
Rich
compatriots.
saying, by the way? What was he saying?
Bomb squad.
Bomb squad.
Squad.
Bomb squad.
Bomb squad. Just
Guys, we're getting some interference on the mics. We're hearing bomb squad a lot.
indiscriminate bomb squad.
Bomb squad.
And then he very publicly gave
it to
Max. Now,
Maximilian.
my understanding was he could have just used it. Did Rich not understand it, or did he want to give it off to
No,
someone
I
who
think
was
if it
there?
wasn't your tribal, you had to give it off, I think.
I thought from what I read of it, it was just like you can just nominate the people, you just nominate who you want to use it for. Or is that really that's really abnormal to have an influence?
I think it would be I think it would be that you. Well, also you're not in with the chat. You don't know exactly what's happening over there. I think it is beneficial to give
But
it
if
to someone and be
if
like,
your bomb squad's strong, don't you just knock out two of the women?
you mean BSS?
Yes. What would
if
bomb
you're-
squad do?
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, got your t-shirt
Yeah.
made, Rich. Start making your t-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I think it was you had to give it to someone if it's not
Okay.
your tribal council. I think it would be weird to use something if
So
you're not
Rich
at the
obviously
tribal
feels the
council.
closest to Max and chose to give him that
Yeah,
power.
it feels he calls him his little brother.
Would you like to have that, or would you like to not have that
You
target
definitely
on you?
want the power. No, you
want
definitely
that.
want the power. You
Okay.
want the power to be able to do that because this basically sets up. You know where the alliances are. You know what you could do. So obviously, if you were just looking at this from a perspective of just looking at it from a game perspective, with what the alliances were at the time, Bomb Squad versus the Witches Coven, you go, okay, I'm going to send 2 of the Witches Coven home.
Yep.
The boys are then going to have the majority, and we're going to choose who we vote out, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yep.
There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. That's not what happened because
No.
all the alliances seem to obviously break down and shift to the point that people were confused on who is actually in what alliance. And people didn't actually know what happened. So now Max is in with Logan and Laura, and he just made announcements, I'm doing this. And then later he goes back to Logan and says, oh, no, that's not what I'm doing. I'm actually doing this.
Yeah, so
And
initially he said he was going to save himself and AJ because he was going after Miles. That was the group thing. And I thought, okay, that's really interesting. And then he reveals it, no, that's not the plan. I'm going to do something different. I don't know if I wouldn't have said what I was going to do. I would just, if everyone knows, probably read it and let everyone know. Because it's still, I don't know, or is this still a good thing to build trust and share the information with?
You go to your alliance, and you say, guys, what are we going to do? And you talk about it as a group and you come up with a plan and you come up with a target and you know what's going to happen. Now, what's interesting is Max is so hell-bent on getting rid of Miles and the girls are like, I don't think we need to get rid of Miles. I think we can use him. And they put out maybe Zara. They sort of throw that out there and things like that. Now, what I would do at this point is if you are in that situation and you know that maybe they want to vote out Zara and they're not too gung-ho on Miles, you take Zara out of the equation at Tribal Council so they can't vote for her. And you can't, and it leaves them with the only option is to vote Miles. In no world should you be sending home Laura and who was Ellen? Karen.
Yeah. He sent Laura and Karen,
Yeah, there's no work. So basically they were one person from each alliance.
Yes.
Which basically keeps it exactly the same.
Yes, agreed. I don't understand if you're aligning yourself with Logan and Laura, why you send one of them home, one of your numbers to vote with. I do not understand.
I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
I don't know. You know what word, and shout outs to the great man, Rob Sestronino. I think this was a little too cute. This was too cute. It was too cute from Max.
I think it was too cute.
I really don't understand, and I think his weird, charming, sort of aggressive, kind of cheeky kind of chatter, it just becomes confusing. It's like, are you with us or are you going after this person? You're at war with this person or you're with us to do this? I think Max was just playing it in such a way that I don't think anyone could keep track of what his real actual plan was and can you be trusted?
So I think in that regard, I think playing devil's advocate here for Max, I think you go, okay, I'm going to create some craziness. No one's going to really know what's happening. It's going to keep it really open. I'm then going to go in there and send one person home from sort of each side. And then with obviously what he thought the lines were 3 on one side. He thought Miles, Kaylin, and AJ were on one side. And he thought Zara, Ali, and Logan were on the other.
I don't think so. I think...
And he... No, just wait, just hear me out. And then he becomes the swing vote in the middle to decide what goes home.
Do you think
that's what
right
I think? That's what I think he thought. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
I think...
But it's a bad read.
He thought he had... I think he thought Kaylin. He had Kaylin. So the way the votes went, it was Ali, Max, and Logan. So he knew he had... I think he knew he had Logan, and I think he knew he had Ali, and I think he thought he had Kaylin, and he was going to get rid of Miles. And I think Kaylin, he thinks he lost Kaylin. Because I can't... I just don't understand. I don't know. He must have been so sure about where the line stood, but then the way he looked so bamboozled after it came out that it wasn't Miles, it's like you've just completely lost control and you didn't. And I think the biggest crime with this is it wasn't used in a way that solidified getting rid of Miles.
No,
you lost,
not at all.
You
not
lost
at all.
Laura. You took away one of your votes that was 100% with you.
So you had a vote that you've then burnt. Logan is pissed at you now for blowing it up. You have basically scorched earth.
Yeah.
any relationship you had, because in your head you got too tricky. If you had just gone to the team and said, this is what we've got, this is what we should do, you lock in everyone and everyone feels confident with what they're doing, and you probably could have got out Miles. You probably could have got out Miles if
Yeah.
you played it correctly.
It seemed
if
like
you're wanting to get rid of Miles, you get rid of people that are close to Miles. You send AJ home and you send, the other person that you think is close. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it was very strange. And when it was all happening, I was very confused about where the lines were and who thought what was going on. And like, you could tell, again, in very open tribal council, Logan very clearly being like, I don't really know what Max is going to do. And you don't want that for someone you're meant to be in alliance with. Like, that doesn't make sense.
This is not, as a wise person once said, you've got to be aligned with your alliance. Like, you've got to know what they're doing. And that is chaos. That is absolute chaos there. And if you think you've got the numbers, I think they were just blinded by this graduate group.
The funny thing I sort of took note of was that the graduates stuck together. They all stuck together, and Karen was sort of making a big deal of let's graduate, all that kind of. So the graduates stuck together. The bomb squad did not stick together. But what was interesting is, like, Kaylin, it's like the bomb squad, like, Kaylin flipped in a way that, what am I trying to say? It's like this alliance voted together, but not for the reasons they thought.
Yes,
it's
like that's true.
It got swapped, but it's not like they were being firm. It was this other configuration. So it was a very confusing vibe.
The biggest thing that failed, I think, was there was no one there saying bomb squad, bomb squad, bomb squad, and they got confused. They just didn't have it on the wind. It wasn't on the wind.
Absolutely.
Josh. So lo and behold, it all sort of blows up, and Ali takes the crossfire.
We lose Ali, yeah. So just based on what we'd seen was that sort of the person there that was a bit annoying to a lot of people. But it seems like Max with this power completely lost control of this vote.
Yeah, and look, getting rid of Ali isn't too bad at this point, I don't think. I think she was frustrating people, and it sort of takes her off the board. And you know what's really cool? Typically there's a tribe swap soon. And so now all the alliances are blown up. No one's really solid. Everything's wild. It's Aces wild, Josh.
Yeah.
And anyone can go any direction, and it's a cool time for this to happen, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a really interesting way that this is all sort of crumbled, and it really does seem like there's not a lot of solid. I think it can be really fluid, and I think when they start working with other people, everyone wants to work with other people at this point.
Yeah. So, Josh, who spun and grun?
Who spun and grun?
Spinning grid.
I think we've seen a lot of Logan. We've seen heaps of Logan.
Yeah. But did everything go Logan's way in these 3 episodes?
Somewhat, but like not really. I think AJ's probably got through pretty well, I reckon. But actually, Laura's probably in another interesting spot as well, because she's ended up getting her way with Rich being saved.
But she's in the minority of that
now. It's
group.
all
So
flipped again. What do you reckon?
I think the only person that had a really, really unsolicited good 3 episodes is Noonan. I feel Noonan and Paulie. I honestly feel that
the dynamics on Brains are too crazy.
The dynamics on Brains are wild. Noonan has like solidified her relationship with Paulie.
Yep.
She basically got rid of Nash, who's someone that she didn't care for. And she's built some bridges. She's tried to reach out to Ursula. I think she's in a really good spot over there. I don't think anyone's coming. Like Ursula's like, I don't like her. But there's not groupthink saying we have to get rid of Noonan.
No. All right, we'll give 2 to Noonan, and then maybe 1, maybe to. It's hard because you're covering 3 episodes, right?
Yeah, I know.
I might go Laura because managed to have Richard still on.
What about AJ, actually? What about AJ? Because AJ found an idol.
He
got the target off himself.
Yeah.
He was in a bad position, and he's come all the way round now, and he's got Miles.
And he's in the majority. Yeah. Maybe AJ's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Let's go AJ. Let's go AJ. Noonan 2 and AJ 1. And Josh, who ruffled some feathers?
Who ruffled some feathers?
It was to rustle feathers, ruffle feathers.
Debatable. Who ruffled the most? I think Ali ruffled the most.
I think it's got to be Max, right?
Oh, yeah, actually, probably Max.
It's got to be Max after that last episode. Like, I don't think anything comes close to that. The chaos there of not really telling people what's going on. I think it's got to be Max.
Yeah, let's go 2 Max,
you said
1
rustle feathers.
Thank you. Let's go 2 Max, 1 Ali. Yeah, happy with that?
Sounds good. Sounds very good.
Yes, good. that's pretty much the end of the episode, isn't it? That's
Yeah, we just got to say who had a good week and who had a bad week. I think Nash and Ali had a bad week.
I think Nash and Ali had a bad week, and I think Rich had an okay week.
Yeah.
But those guys, yeah. Look, we say goodbye to them. They're big characters. It'll be interesting to see who fills that void now.
Yeah, I'm really excited though that the way the brains has all sort of shattered up. I think we're in a really interesting place to see how that all plays out over the next few episodes.
Yeah. If you get this far in the YouTube, just make a comment in the chat. Just say, what would the Bomb Squad do?
The Bomb Squad do.
Just see if anyone posts that in the chat if they get this far.
And as well, if you can leave us a review, some star ratings
really
on your podcast apps, just helps discovery massively. So even if you can chuck in just a couple of words, it goes a long way to sharing the show. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah, please. Tell your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Tell your Bomb Squad buddies and your Calvin buddies and your
tell
graduating
the rest of the Bomb
class.
Squad.
Tell everyone.
Yeah.
But that's it from us, guys. We will see you next week. We've got an exit interview that have just gone up with Nash, and looking forward to more crazy Survivorness. Thank you very much, guys. See ya. Bye.